Yeah, yeah. And how did you kind of identify, like, who your first couple clients were, and has that process changed at all? My assumption is, like, you knew some companies and people at companies that needed some help, but as you've, grown, have you had a different approach to identifying new potential customers?
Yeah, pretty typical, I think. Starting out a company, working with our network, people that we knew that needed either some implementation or they just needed some extra help in some cases,
Yep.
right? They didn't have the bandwidth really to kind of deliver on the growth expectations that they had in the company. So we helped them out in a fractional way. And then we started looking kind of outwards, right? So outside of our own networks, a lot of our new customers right now come through LinkedIn. We try to be pretty active there in terms of connecting to new people, broadening our network. Try to hopefully deliver like a lot of content and new ideas and fresh perspectives in the revenue operations space that are very interesting for CROs, VPs of sales, the people that we sell to. And then we do, of course, a little bit of email marketing. We do some calling and try to be kind of where they are as well. Try to meet
Yeah.
them where they are.
Yeah, and you'd
So
mentioned, like, Series B, Series C, and then early stage and helping build things out, which I think is great. Whenever I'm, like, in any service company, I'm like, I love to see how much educational content they're putting out, right? Because I think that's, like, the best marketing you can do is to be giving a resource that people can use, and then they're like, "Oh, these people know what they're talking about, like, let me go and chat with them when they need help."
yeah.
There's a bunch of, RevOps, go-to-market strategy, service providers out there. Who do you really think about as, like, your competitors, or who do you run into in this space? I'm sure some of it is, like, the competitors, they do wanna hire that RevOps person to come in versus using external resources. But how do you think about the competitive landscape for your company?
Yeah, there's certainly other RevOps as a service providers. We're not alone in that space. There's some people that have been doing that for a couple of years and do that really well. Definitely some larger agency type companies, Lean Scale, Union Square Consulting. There's a couple of people there. Go Nimbly is a pretty big agency as well. So those are kind of like the more established names. The founders there are also really good at putting out very helpful, valuable content. They have a large network, so they're very active on LinkedIn as well. You kind of see them all over the place. And that's great, right? So those are people you kind of look up to, kind of seeing, hey, what are they doing in the space? How are they
Mhm.
growing? That's definitely some of the competitors that we look into. Other than that, it's really goodness, whenever we go through a sales process and if they're evaluating their revenue operations needs and we are talking to them and they're talking to some other providers as well, some of the other things that we run into is that in a lot of cases they stay status quo, right? So, and we're not alone in that kind of objection and in that sales process. There's a lot of companies that deal with that. It's not just revenue operations as a service, but it's just companies that say, well, you know what? We feel that we have a need. We want to make the investment, but right now it's not the budget. Right now it's not the time. Let's just keep going how we're going right now. See if we can kind of make it work a little bit longer, and then we'll reach back out. So we see that a lot too. So it's not necessarily they go to a competitor for ABC reason. They just stay with whatever they have today.